I've made bad art for most of my life, and one of those reasons is due to a lack of niche. I'm an interdisciplinary artist. The definition of that is to apply at least 2 different approaches to one's artwork, often a combination of art and technology, typically digital in nature. So for myself, I blend forms of painting, sculpture, film, song, dance, animation, spoken word, and portraiture in various different ways. But that makes it difficult to develop a personal brand and definitive skill set. I often envy people with a clear tagline attached to their name. Faye Webster, musician. Jordan Peele, director. That looks like a fucking cool video. Oh my god, though I love that. We should, okay, do another one. Of course, a solution to this could be that I just pick an art form and engage with and prioritize it the most. I've gotten this advice before, and I've also tried it. But the limitations of a genre don't feel fulfilling to me. It's not quite boredom, but worse, maybe. I feel emptier. I'm not creating with the excitement of watching my project grow and unravel. For the purpose of this video essay, I'm going to focus on 3 artistic methods that are almost always present in my works, which would be writing, painting, and film. There are no videos of me as a child, and it's not because we didn't have a camcorder, it's because I was the documenter. Ever since I was a kid, I was recording my family and friends. I have so much footage of birthdays, beach days, living room conversations, skits my friends and I would do late at night. It can be strange to look back at sometimes. Even though I can occasionally hear my voice, I have no clue what I looked like at those times. The only evidence I can find is when I had to be included in school projects.
Don't forget she's old and very wrinkly. Brought to you by Giza's Mummy Cream.
There are so many videos of me in high school because if there was an option to do a video for whatever project or subject, I always took that option. I also started putting my videos on YouTube at this time. I lived in my parents' basement with really low lighting, still had dial-up internet. I was also using the worst editing system. I found it for like 25 bucks. It crashed all the time and the whole thing was in Russian, so I never understood what I was doing. But I made some wild videos. I heard this quote a while back that reads, "A technical failure, but personal masterpiece." My equipment was faulty, but I really worked it to its fullest capacity. At the time of uploading, before there were any views, I felt so elated. Producing as an act was what drove me. But as time passed, I became very embarrassed of these videos. A lot has been archived and deleted, and when I've reflected back on why I've felt embarrassed, it has nothing to do with the way I've edited it or its success. It was because I was embarrassed about me as a person. I spoke unnaturally and moved too calculated and unconfident. I just had no experience being on camera. And being completely honest, I feel like I've only started being comfortable with it the last year. Like, what took me so long? I'm just interrupting this video essay for a second because I've been going through some old footage and old photo albums, and this has been a bit more of an emotional process than I thought it would be. I'm going to show you something in a sec that my sister made me before she passed away. I used to record with her all the time. I made films with her a lot, and she passed away in her early 20s, and I miss her a lot. Anyways, I'll show you This is the book she made me when we were kids, but it starts off with a photo of us, and I'm gonna blur her face just for privacy's sake. This is what I want to show you though. Remember that time you and I made a video on your camera with my pet shops? Wow, that took a lot of pictures. That was fun. We essentially did stop motion with these super small guys. Oh, this is making me cry so much. I have been painting my whole life. This is the art form I have the most practice in. Anytime I would paint or draw at school, my classmates and teachers would always revere my work. And that made me very frustrated because I seldom liked what I made. Thinking back now, it's because they were wrong. We lived in a small town where there wasn't a lot of comparison or competition. I was only good because there was worse. Sometimes I wonder if I grew up in the city instead of on a farm and was just surrounded by more kinds of people, if I would have got more helpful feedback and developed more skill earlier on. And this to say, it's not like I never made a gem. Like I did this mural when I was 15 or 16 and I was really proud of it. All the colors in this scene of Howl's Moving Castle took me a long time to create. I couldn't buy these colors. But this wasn't the norm. Most of what I made, I didn't have any pride for it. As an adult, I still have that feeling drifting in and out. Like, I recently made this painting. It's a girl leaning on somewhat of an apparition's lap, and it's all wrong. Neither person is proportionate, and I didn't really know what to do with the background. But then, just a month ago, I made this painting. It was in a gallery exhibit, and I genuinely love this piece. What is this? I made them within the same season, at the same age, and they're both versions of me. But the longer I stare at it, I used to hate reading and hate books. In fact, I was in the second lowest reading level, just above people with learning disabilities, back in elementary school. They just couldn't keep my attention, and I didn't find them interesting. The only thing I really engaged with was graphic novels. But then also, I liked writing. I was a writer long before I was a reader. To this day, I still feel bad for the friends that had to read those short stories because every second word was spelled wrong. There was no grammatical structure at all. You know, I just didn't know what words were supposed to look like. I loved telling stories, and I thought that was enough. It was only until I was about 14 years old that I started reading books like Percy Jackson and Lord of the Rings that got me into reading. I wrote a couple books in high school, like full-length fantasy novels. At some point, I went to a youth writers camp as well. That experience was so enriching for me and really solidified the importance of writing in my life. I bounced ideas off of other young writers and was mentored from local professional ones. A small little strange thing though, I kept receiving the advice to pursue poetry. It was a genre I wasn't writing, but for some reason, every mentor said the way that I wrote prose was very poetic, and they encouraged me to go into it. I didn't. I thought that was bullshit, and I ignored it. At least until university. When I began secondary education, I fell in love and fell into being a love poet. At the ages of 18, 19, and 20, I wrote my first 2 poetry books. It's been over 6 years since I did that, and I still want to come out with another poetry book, but there's a reason why I haven't. Portfolios are the bane of my existence. When you have the ability and the drive and the exploration to make new art, why is it that the people with money don't ask for mock-ups? Why don't they have the show me what you got, kid kind of attitude? I would love if people and companies could state their vision and ask for a mock-up of it, but instead they want to see past examples. So what if all of mine are bad? Am I doomed to never get funding and never collaborate, therefore further making bad art and so on and so forth? It's maddening. And although I've considered putting in the labor of creating a profitable portfolio, one that can show skill but is not a genuine project or a genuine piece of art I enjoy. The thought of that makes me want to flush my own head down the toilet. Can we just start over? Hi, my name is Nicole Mae, and I'm an interdisciplinary artist based in Treaty 4, Canada. I'm trying to be a full-time artist, but can't promise the conventions of it. I want to produce poetry films and experimental video art, sculpture paintings, and clay figures, and poems and scripts. I want to show you these things and occasionally sell them. But could I get some ideas off of you first? Okay, here's what I'm thinking. I could potentially do seasonal art sales. So this could include canvas paintings and prints, maybe totes or zines or stickers or polymer clay figures. Just sort of whatever I feel like making that season. I've also considered doing a monthly mail subscription. The two sectors I've considered with this is writing some sort of letter every month and then including either a poem or a tiny postcard, maybe a photograph or a film still. You just wouldn't know what kind of art aspect you'd get. Or I could do something a bit more specific and do a poem club. So every month you'd be guaranteed to get a letter and a poem, and that would be what it is. Thoughts? I'm open to any sort of feedback you guys might have. Most people have recommended that I try Patreon, and I've just been kind of intimidated by that platform because I always see such big artists and content creators using it. I think just being a small and emerging artist makes me wonder if it would be worth it or if anyone would go out of their way to utilize an extra platform for my works. So I don't know. That's also something you can give me feedback on. Do you like Patreon? Do you use it? Would you? I will say I do already have a Ko-fi account. Ko-fi. I've never really promoted it because I feel bashful discussing art and money and the value between the two, but it does exist, and 100% of the donations on that account do go towards funding my art practices. So yeah, those would be the ideas I've had percolating in my brain. What I need to know from you is, would you like seasonal art sales? Would you participate with a monthly mail subscription? Do you like Patreon? Is that a good thing? Outside of all of this, I have been looking for more freelance work, specifically to do with video editing, art commissions, and book publicity. Those are the three things I have the most experience in and already have clients and testimonials in. So if you're watching this and need any help in those areas, I'm available to work. The sun is really coming out right now, and it's very nice because it's been so cold in Saskatchewan this fall. I've broken out the toques and the gloves and the scarves, so I'm very happy about this. Okay, I'm gonna leave you with these thoughts and questions right now. And also thank you for watching and engaging with all of this. I feel this, and I mean it so genuinely, heaviness lifted off of me because I've been so stuck in this space of feeling like my art isn't good enough to pursue it full throttle, but also wanting to, feeling passionate about it and understanding where the potential is. I'm sure many artists can relate to this. It's somewhat of an imposter syndrome sort of thing. It's been really stirring me up, and putting this video out here really feels like a fresh start for me. Like I can show my progress and my works and hold accountability for where my art has failed and succeeded. And I'm so eager to restart. Okay, I will see you next week.